Formula One competed in one of the toughest races on the schedule at Singapore's Marina Bay Street Circuit last weekend. The 5-kilometer course is tough, to say the least. It's uneven and riddled with harsh braking zones. But to hell with that. The question is whether the lessons learned from Singapore will help the F1 teams cope with the upcoming race calendar or not. Let's get straight into it, starting with the harsh weather conditions. As he pedaled his bike in a sauna, Carlos Sainz Jr. commented on social media that extreme situations call for extreme measures. Not just him, but other drivers also felt compelled to broadcast their plans for Singapore to the globe. Charles Leclerc, a teammate, shared 3 photos of himself utilizing an ice chamber to adjust his body temperature variations. Lewis Hamilton asked Leclerc how cold it was by commenting on his photo. Leclerc explained it to him by giving the example of cold hard tires in Barcelona winters. This past weekend, some drivers encountered Singapore's unique requirements for the first time. In a recent video released by Williams, a teammate named Alexander Albon explains what to expect from one Singaporean newbie named Nicholas Latifi. Albon told his teammates that it's kind of sticky weather, which isn't nice. He thinks that because it's a street track, it holds the heat more, so the eyes start burning with the fuel plus the heat. He also said that as everyone is managing tires quite a lot because you can't overtake, it gets really tricky at the end when everyone starts to push. Moving on to changes in time zones. Singapore hosted the first of many races held at night on the F1 schedule. On Sunday, qualifying begins at 9 p.m. and the race is scheduled to begin at 8 p.m. As a result, the drivers experience very little weekend sunlight acclimation and they arrive at the course early. So most of the F1 employees make an effort to maintain European time. However, since the body gets used to sleeping in the morning, this poses difficulties for people. To minimize any detrimental impact on their performance, teams enlist a variety of doctors and medical professionals. Angela Cullen, Hamilton's physical therapist, and coaching specialists, Hensa Performance, collaborated closely. Mercedes physician Dr. Luke Bennett described the key elements of a successful pre-race regimen. He says that it starts ideally with preparation, even before traveling, because they think they're staying on European time. Singapore is a little bit of a problematic scenario. Although it's not quite like that, one has to make an effort to adjust. Before traveling, physicians try to shift the driver's daily schedule a couple of hours so that it's easier to shift to new Singapore timings once they get there. They also try to select the appropriate flight. In order to determine how much light will be exposed to various aircraft components, the team even goes so far as to drill it down to which side of the aircraft you sit on. Dr. Bennett went on to say that they also discuss when to maximize light exposure, when to seek out darkness or a space with a lot of shade, and when to wear sunglasses or not. Next, 2023 means more traveling for teams. Next year, difficulties like the ones that Singapore presents will become more and more of a problem. There are 24 races on the 2023 F1 calendar, and teams will have to travel even farther because of the new venues in Las Vegas, China, and Qatar. For instance, if rounds are held on consecutive weekends, the flight from Las Vegas to Abu Dhabi takes longer than 19 hours. Although teams can pack up a day earlier than normal because the new U.S. race is on a Saturday night, the pressure placed on drivers and team members to pick up the complete F1 circus and transport it across the globe in 19 hours will undoubtedly wear them out. Dr. Bennett is optimistic that the teams, however, will be able to handle the rigors of 24 races in 37 weeks by using the lessons they've gained adapting to unique races like Singapore, not to mention the interruption caused by the pandemic. Lastly, here's more on that. Dr. Bennett believes that geographical logic is not present. They constantly travel east and west, and when engineers are traveling home on a Sunday night and are in a different time zone, it may be better to avoid adjusting. However, it can just be a matter of surviving a race weekend and maximizing performance. It depends on what you did the week before, the week after, and the 2 weeks after that. The annual F1 calendars vary from year to year. The way we go about doing this is really quite a bespoke design. The championship will still travel across the world in 2023, despite F1's efforts to regionalize the schedule. F1 increased its races by 50% over the course of 20 years, from 16 races in 2003 to 24 in 2023. Can its rivals handle any more? Currently, there are no more races that can be added to the F1 calendar. The load on the teams may be lessened in the future calendars, but would that be used as an excuse to add even more events? Now, on to other news. Firstly, in the Japanese Grand Prix, which was cut short by rain, Verstappen won the World Championship championship. After winning the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, Max Verstappen was crowned the 2022 Formula One World Champion. Verstappen won the race by almost half a minute after the race was red flagged for more than 2 hours due to an accident at the start. Charles Leclerc came in second overall, but after the race, he was given a 5-second time penalty, dropping him to third behind Sergio Perez. Verstappen won his second world championship after receiving all the points despite having finished just over half of the original race's distance. After the safety car was deployed, Verstappen took the lead, followed by Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Esteban Ocon. Drivers complained that visibility was dangerously low, so the race was stopped and everyone went back to the pits. Over an hour and a half passed, while race control waited for the weather to get better. It was eventually announced that the race would continue after almost 50 minutes had passed. With 40 minutes left in the race, the field returned to the course on fully wet tires, and the action finally resumed. Verstappen rapidly established a sizable lead over Leclerc, who was following him. Leclerc finished in third place after being awarded a 5-second penalty, and Perez managed to grab second place. Secondly, F1 drivers oppose using a crane during a wet race. After the safety car was deployed and a crane and another vehicle were seen on the track, several drivers expressed their rage over their radios. Some drivers overtook the cars while the safety car was in motion, while others did so after the race was stopped due to dangerous weather. One of the many who noted Jules Bianchi's suffering fatal injuries after spinning and hitting a crane at the circuit 8 years prior was Alexander Albon, who retired with a technical issue on the first lap. He hopes that after the race, drivers will bring up the issue with the FIA. Carlos Sainz Jr., who wrecked, was the second driver who gave up after the opening lap. In wet conditions, he claimed it's easier for drivers to lose control of their vehicles, raising the possibility of a spin-out and collision. Sainz also said that even behind the safety car, he was going at speeds of 100 and 150 kilometers per hour and was unable to see anything. When the race was going to be stopped, he questioned why the decision had been made to bring recovery cars onto the course. On social media, other racers who finished the race expressed their disapproval of the crane's use. Sergio Perez complained that how can the drivers make it clear that they don't want a crane on the track? Jules already lost his life due to this. Lastly, Red Bull calls the decision to award full points in the Japanese Grand Prix a mistake. Christian Horner, the team owner of Red Bull, thinks it was a mistake to give the Japanese Grand Prix full points, even though it gave his driver Max Verstappen the championship. Many teams were taken aback by the FIA's decision to award full points for a race that barely covered half of its allotted time. Due to a 2-hour delay brought on by heavy weather, only 28 of the planned 53 circuits of the race were completed. Red Bull and a number of their competitors anticipated that the FIA would award points in accordance with the new regulations that were implemented this year. These state that if a race is completed in less than 75% of the allotted time, the winner will receive 19 points. Ferrari, Red Bull's challenger for the championship, did not anticipate earning all possible points in the race. Its squad manager, Mattia Binotto, acknowledged that they were confused themselves after last year's absurd Belgian Grand Prix, in which half points were given for a race that officially consisted of a single lap behind the safety car. Horner believes that the FIA and teams did not intend for the new rules to operate in this way. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on the 24-race calendar? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.